What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. If you saw our last video about putting long tube headers on an 03 Cobra, which was a pain in the butt, in this video we finished the Maximum Motorsports K member, which we're going to show you how we wrap that up, and it's already done, so we're just going to kind of recap it for you. But most importantly, people want to know, was there any sound difference with the long tubes? Marginal. Not huge, but definitely a little bit. So anyway, we're getting ready to fire it up. We have to make sure it doesn't have a coolant leak that we ran into. We'll explain that later in the video, but let's just start with the startup. Man, that thing is dirty. Sounds pretty good. How's it looking? So we still have to align the front. We still got to put a catch can on it, as you can see with our custom breather there. And we got to take it to the car wash. She's a wee bit louder with the revs. I'll give you guys a 411 while this thing's sitting here running and Dan's checking for leaks. We had a little bit of an issue, and as you know in the previous parts of the channel, we are one to admit and disclose the problems that we run into on our customer cars, because that is how we learn, that's how you learn, so overall it's not a bad thing to share. So we went to put the trans back in this car, and it was not lining up with the twin disc clutch and the input shaft. We're gonna get the trans in. So typically on a lot of other projects, we might like bump the clutch fork with like a pry bar, and that might help shift the alignment to get it in the rest of the way. Well, we did that, and the trans kind of just like fell like another 1/4 inch. It made the alignment even worse. So that started a whole chaotic mess of problems. Because after that, you have to pull the clutch off, realign it with the clutch alignment tool. So we take the clutch off, realign it with the clutch alignment tool. Dan went to go torque the clutch diaphragm, the pressure plate, back onto the clutch, and one of the grade 8 studs broke at like 25. We went like 25 all the way around, and then went to go to 30 on the next one, and it broke on 30. And you're supposed to get to 35. So that just like totally ruined our whole night, like 10 o'clock at night the other day. We had to pull the whole clutch off again, find grade 8 studs, which are not the easiest to find. Got some, replaced it, and put it all back together, and now we're good to go. Then the next day, put the trans back in, everything went swimmingly well. We started it up, we filled it with coolant, everything was going really good. and it had a coolant leak in the back of the block coming down along the, switching sides, my arm's tired. It had a coolant leak coming down the back of the block between the block and the flywheel, and we couldn't really source it. We thought it was the new head cooling mod that we put on it. Was not that. Kind of went through some other checklist of items that typically leak. Wasn't anything that we could really find. So we ended up pulling the MFN trans back out of it again, like the third time. And the leak ended up being something really stupid. It was the coolant crossover where we were using it to fill with the funnel, was just slightly trickling off the back, but we did not catch that. And it was filling the valley a little bit. And then there's on these mod motors, if you guys don't know, there's like a hole in the back of the valley, and it was getting up to a level where it can go through there and then coming down the back of the block. So we put it up in the air, we confirmed our suspicions that was it, dumped some water down in the valley, came down right where the leak was, and that was it. We just kind of jumped to conclusions that it was something in the back, since we just messed with so many things under and on the back side of the car that we just assumed that it was that, and we should not have done that, bottom line. Keep it simple, stupid, always learn. Anyway, so now it's running, it's great, we gotta put the hood back on it. It's pretty much gonna go back into storage for now until it goes on the dyno. So we're gonna go wash it and then go put it back in the garage. But it sounds good, there's no exhaust leaks, I mean, and it looks freaking awesome under the car. All right, so on that note, we're gonna let this get super hot so it'll heat the cats up so it'll stop smelling. And put the hood on it, wash it, put it back in storage. For now, let's flip to the underside so we can show you guys the K member and all the modifications we did to it there. New exhaust smells terrible. But, you know, it is what it is. But it sounds great. It smells terrible, but sounds great. All right, I want to give you guys some more engine bay goodness now that the hood's off. I mean, this thing looks freaking sweet. She's ready for the dyno at least. We gotta put a catch can on it. This car will still pass all emissions. It has all the EGR, it has rear O2 sensors. There's really nothing deleted. And if needed, it could have a complete PCV system. We're just gonna opt to go with a catch can. We think it's a little bit better. And if anything came up where it needed to be switched back to a PCV, we are going to allow that to be possible with an oil separator. So we'll be able to go either way with it, but it's looking really good. It sounds really good. We gotta do some alignment. We are doing wheels and tires on this car eventually. It's from New York. We're holding on to it until the weather gets nice, so we're pretty much storing it anyway. So you guys will see it on and off the channel over the next few videos, getting wrapped up and finished. Anytime the roads are nice enough to get it here from our house, which is only about 5 minutes, then we'll putz it over here, get some work done on it, go wash it, and put it back. So as of right now, she's good to go, and we're on the list for the dyno. Let's check out the underside. All right, so here's the underside. So a couple things left on the front is tightening the sway bar once we got it on some ride height. We have to adjust the ride height now to make them level side to side. The ride height on this side's like perfect. This side needs to be raised up. But the whole Maximum Motorsports front end is on. You guys can see the headers on there now. Solid rack bushing, solid steering shaft, coilover conversion. Dan's gonna get rid of our light. Now this is the only thing I'm not fond of on these ARHs is like these slip fit exhaust. I mean, it seals good and that's all great, and it's pretty sturdy. You know, we have it tightened up real tight to the, you can't see that. Real tight, I mean, it's hardly any lower, it's nice and level. So they're good, they have their benefits of that style, but getting them on and off is just such a pain in the butt. You know, I think on Dan's car, if we do a set of headers, we'll probably end up putting V-bands here, making that solid. And then just have this whole thing V-band on like you guys see us do on the red car. And I'd probably also put V-bands here.
They'll probably get 3-inch all the way.
And so we can do 3-inch all the way back.
I'll go V-band, they can do either or.
Yeah, as long as it all fits up good. All right, but the front half of this car is full race car badass Cobra. Back half is all factory stock, gonna break junk. So in a future video, you'll see us doing the full tilt boogie kit like you've seen us do to every Cobra that comes into Street Car Shenanigans for the special sauce. But I'm happy with it. Dan's happy with it.
Oh yeah.
Anytime we get to put maximum product on our customer vehicles, we're pretty pumped about it.
It looks so good. The fitment is great with the kit.
All right, guys, we are in the VMP car. Dan drove it to here. He made mention that the Maximum Motorsports coilover kit with the Bilstein shocks was significantly quieter than the K-Member we just did that had strange coilovers, which is to be expected. The Bilstein is a top quality shock, but so much so that he's like, hey, in the 2 miles that I have to drive it, I'm gonna pull over halfway so you can drive it the other mile. So I am now driving it. I just wanted to bring you guys kind of an in-car video of the VMP car. All we've done is kind of cleaned the inside of this car up. We took the gauges out here. We're probably gonna end up putting one single pod here for a multi-purpose gauge, and we changed the shifter for the MGW shifter. But the car's still super quiet in here, but it sounds really good. Try to hold and record at the same time. This car's gonna be so sweet. I'm so happy that, you know, it kind of stinks that when we have projects that drag out long, like the Lightning is one, this is another, but it's really fun that this car's gonna be around when it starts to get nice outside, because I can't wait to see how it is, you know, when we can put a set of 18s on it, a set of sticky 888Rs on it, and it gets a couple decent days to drive this thing, because this thing does drive really nice. I mean, I've only driven it a few feet, but this is a full Maximum Motorsports front suspension with coilovers, and I literally aligned it by using my eye for now, and it's still super responsive steering, really quiet on the caster camper plates. You know, when you run those strange coilovers, we love them. They work good. They're doing really good for us in the red car, but they just make a lot of noise when you put them on caster camper plates. This Bilstein setup is like whisper quiet. So pretty cool. Car's running good. Can't wait to get on the dyno. But anyways, smash subscribe down below so you guys can see this Gen 3 VMP 93 dyno video that we'll have coming up in a couple weeks, we hope. And obviously stay tuned with the other projects that we got on the channel, and we will see you guys soon. All right, guys, so we got the Cobra in storage, and we figured out a pretty good discovery that we just narrowed down an issue on. When we got this car and we put the VMP on it, we got a baseline tune in it, it would drive and everything was fine, but it just didn't seem 100% correct, but it wasn't tuned yet, so we just kind of blamed it on that. We just putzed it around. Now that we have the exhaust on it, and we put the long tubes and the high flow cats and changed all that from factory manifolds and the high flow cats that were on it, it's a completely different car. Now, we can't say that the headers increased the power. I don't think that's what I'm getting at, but the difference is that there had to be something wrong with the cats that were on the car already. I mean, it revs so fast. When you're just cruising at 2,500 RPM or 2,000 RPM and you tip into the throttle, I mean, this VMP Gen 3 is just making boost instantly, which it did not do that before we put the headers on it. And we thought it was just the tuning or whatever wasn't allowing it to, you know, make power by going lean or something. But now it's just gonna be a monster. So definitely subscribe down below, keep tabs on this build, and we're gonna compare it to a Gen 2 in a couple different ways. So we'll see how this progresses. But we're pretty excited now. It's gonna be a badass car.